Hey guys, welcome to today's Vehicle Visionary. Today, based on a request from one of my subscribers, I always ask at the end of the videos for y'all to tell me what you want to see me feature here on my YouTube channel. I am going to feature this Audi Q8. And while I haven't gotten my foot in the door just yet, not yet, at the local Audi dealership here in Shreveport, Louisiana, if anybody has a way in or knows the right person, please let me know. We're going to take a look at this 2019 model that just showed up on the lot at Land Rover of Shreveport. The exterior color on this model is glacier white and the interior color is black. And we're going to take a closer look at the interior in just a little while. But just to give you a quick look around real fast, here's what you have. And I must say, one thing that really impresses me is the fact that the ride quality is unbelievably smooth. And just a quick look at some of the badging on the vehicle. And so this particular model features the 3-liter 6-cylinder engine under the hood. And we'll take a closer look at that in just a little while. But one thing I must say that I really like here, as we work our way around and begin our exterior tour, of course you do have the LED front headlights. Very nice design. I really like the fact that, well, it's unique. It doesn't look like something else that you're going to necessarily see on different other vehicles. And one thing, if you're familiar with the Lamborghini Urus, that is the same platform that this Q8 sits on. And so one thing I really like, while I like the design of other vehicles when it has basically the faux vents here in the front of the vehicle on the lower portions of the front of the bumper, on the sides of the bumper up here in the front, one thing that I like is these are the real thing. See that? Every vent is functional here, so plenty of air getting in for this turbocharged engine. And I don't know how well you can see that light in the brightness of what we have today. Very beautiful day here in Northwest Louisiana. But as you can see, those are nice bright lights. Might try and start doing a few more of these later in the day, maybe at dusk, where we can give a little bit better look at some of those features. But of course you can see with the glacier white exterior color, that's going to allow some of the black trim on the vehicle and the black roof rails to really pop. It really sets that off quite a bit. Of course, as you can see, you do have the power folding side view mirrors, turn signal indicator built in there, of course, and something that is, of course, the same that you're going to see on the Lamborghini Urus is that you have a frameless window here. So instead of having the frame actually be part of the window when you open the door, that's actually without a frame. Tell me what you think about that, guys. Is that something you like? Is that something that doesn't matter? Or what is your personal preference? And of course, the taillights very much mimic what we saw on the front as far as the design of the headlights. And of course, we'll open the rear area here and take a look at what we have. Got a few things sitting back here. And I'm going to show you what you have here. You have a pretty decent sized sidewall here on these tires that come with the vehicle. That's going to improve ride quality, of course. But if you get under the mat here in the back and lift up the rear floor, that's going to be your spare tire. Now, while the sidewall isn't as big, that's just a spare. But the good news is that it is a spare. You also have a spare tire repair kit there if you happen to need to use that. And just in the interest of fair reporting, that's what you have right there. Now we'll go ahead and open the door to the back seat here just so I can show you how easy it is to lower these seats. I'll just show you. There is the lever right there. This is how you're going to maximize your cargo space. And of course the same is going to hold true on the other side. And you also have a removable cargo cover, as you can see right there. If you want to maximize your cargo space with an object that maybe is a little bit taller than what that allows you to put in, well, obviously you can remove that very easily to take care of that. Quite a bit of space back here. Got a few things sitting back here, my equipment and gear. And of course, you do have a couple of different options for closing the power lift gate when you're ready to do so. And one of the features, of course, not unique to this model of vehicle, but it is nice to see it here. If you don't close the door all the way, I'm just going to barely close that. It's going to go ahead and automatically close itself all the way up, so you don't have to worry about that. And we'll go ahead and hop inside of the rear seats here. Quite a bit of space back here. I like the fact that there's plenty of space, and I like the way that everything is designed here as far as the controls for your air conditioner. That's just a very high-tech, nice, but clean-looking panel right there. Basically digital controls. And of course you can see you've got the cargo nets on the rear. I know people have varying opinions about that, but nonetheless there is space right there for storage. And of course there is your door bin. Nice solid materials here. When it's probably hard to tell in the video when I knock on that, but that is very, very high end. And of course you do have the power shades on the windows here. I'm gonna let that one down. We'll raise that one back up real quick just so you can see it. But you do have the power shades, and of course the nice view of what you would call a panoramic sunroof, I guess. It's not as far back as some, but yet it's not a standard size sunroof. So very, very nice to say the least. And of course down here on the bottom you do have a couple of USB ports. Let's see if I can get down there and show you what's there. A little bit of a hard angle to get to even with the camera, the GoPro right here. And of course there is a 12-volt power outlet as well. And before we hop into the front seat, of course, can't forget to show you what's under the hood right here. Even though, because you have a pretty large plastic cover right here, not a lot that you can really see, but I'm sure if you wanted to really see it, you could take that off. But of course you can see that it does have the turbochargers here, and this motor is not hurting for horsepower. I'll put all the numbers on the screen as far as horsepower, torque, MPGs, and all that good stuff. Like I said, this little model will get down the road nicely. And it's such a smooth ride. There's such little cabin noise that it's very easy to get up to a higher speed than you might intend to. And from the passenger side, here is the perspective of what you'll have. Of course, we've got more of the same materials here that we did in the rear. Somewhat soft armrest right there. Not the softest I've necessarily seen, but not the hardest. It's not rock solid. More of the same materials here throughout the interior. And the seats are nice and comfortable. You've got some contrast stitching there. And of course, you do have, let's open that up just so you can see what's in there. Quite a bit of room in the glove box. And quite a bit of that shiny black, piano black finish in this vehicle. And if that's something you like, you're gonna love this vehicle because there is a lot here. And I do like the way that the air conditioners are integrated into the dashboard. It's basically kind of made to almost look seamless. And if you didn't have these little controls for moving the angle of the vents, you wouldn't necessarily know they were there. That's actually quite a clean look. Tell me what you think about that if you do or don't like it. And of course, you do have power seats here in the front for the driver and the passenger. There's a quick look at the driver's door. Everything you would expect to see there. Just a quick look around before we push the ignition button here and start everything up. And we'll take a look at everything, but I just want to kind of go against my typical routine here and show you that, well, there is your wireless charging pad, and of course you got a couple of USB ports right here and a little bit of space within the console right here. But the reason why I wanted to do that first is I'm going to go ahead and turn everything off and open the door.
Your mobile device is still in the vehicle.
Just so you know that that feature is there. Of course, not something that's unusual or out of the ordinary, but just nice to know that it is there. And I'm going to turn the fan speed down just a little bit here so that we don't have too much noise. Nice look at your dashboard, of course, and I love the fact that these paddle shifters right here on the steering wheel are actually a little bit larger than what I see sometimes. Of course, you've got your controls here that you can use for going through a lot of different functions and features, and you can change up what the dashboard looks like. There's a few different things you can do there, and of course you can go through different options and look at some information. But just a very, very nice system here. And let's see here, we'll go through a little bit more here. Let's see, there we go. That way you know what you have to look at. Gonna go through that kind of fast, but just so you can kind of see what's there. And you see driver assistance there. Of course, there are multiple safety features on this vehicle that I will list for you so that you know what those are in case this is a vehicle you happen to want to purchase. Everything's very easy to figure out here, and as you can see, all I'm doing is hitting view right there to change the size of the tachometer and the speedometer there. Of course, you do have a digital speedometer as well. And just everything you would expect to see. And of course, here is the center infotainment screen. But ultimately, everything is very easy to figure out. And as you can see, this is a very similar screen as far as the upper and lower screen to what you have in the Land Rover vehicles that we've looked at quite a bit in the past. And of course, once you figure everything out, it's not that hard to use. As you can see, here is what you use, the screen you use to control everything for either the heated and cooled seats or for the air conditioning. Everything's just very easy there. And here's one of my favorite buttons right here to push, or options in this case on the screen, turning the auto start stop feature off so that the vehicle stays running every time we come to a complete stop. And so quite a bit here though, and like I said, not difficult to figure out, very easy to use. And of course, here are our modes for the vehicle, and I'll just go through all those so you can see what all is here. We'll go all the way up to off-road. You have off-road, comfort, auto, dynamic, and individual. And of course, obviously in individual, you can customize the vehicle. Let's click on that. And as you can see, you've got different options here. So you can, kind of like the Mercedes vehicles we've looked at in the past, basically you can change everything to being balanced, or you can have sport for steering, sport for suspension, but balanced for drive. And so depending on what you want, nice customizability for the vehicle. And as you can see, you got to push on that screen a little bit hard, maybe not terribly hard, and it might just be the fact that I'm not used to it. But there is your navigation, a few different options there depending on where you are. Very easy to use, very easy to figure out. Of course, you have a search function here as well. Let's push on that one more time, and basically you can find, as you can see, gas station, restaurant. Where do you want to go? Where are you going? Pretty simple. I like that. Very nice feature. Now, this is my first experience with one of these models, and so, well, definitely not used to it. So tell me what your experiences have been with these touchscreen. Okay, guys, we're gonna hop out here on the road for our test drive with the Q8. And of course, as is typical with my test drives, I'm gonna set everything to its most aggressive settings. But even at that, as I've been driving around, going over some of the railroad tracks, just driving down the road here, it has stiffened things up a little bit, but it's still extremely comfortable and extremely tolerable. It's not a jarring experience or sensation when you go over, well, say the railroad tracks that we just went over. Still incredibly smooth. But the handling characteristics also are superb. I like the fact that the steering is good and tight. It's almost what you would expect if, as I mentioned earlier, you bought a Lamborghini Urus, which is what this is basically based off of, the same platform. They share that platform with one another. And so you're gonna have a lot of those same handling characteristics. And even though it doesn't quite have the same horsepower, obviously, as the Urus does, I do like the fact that the handling is very good. As I go into this corner right here, not a real sharp corner, but I do like the fact that I'm not experiencing much body roll at all. The steering input is fantastic. I'm not having to move the steering wheel very much, give it a lot of input to get it to go into the corners. And so we'll just try another corner here. A little bit of body roll there, but actually very much minimized. And acceleration is very, very impressive. Of course, I would imagine that if you had a different exhaust note that maybe was a little bit louder, and of course, great option here as far as a vehicle. If you're looking for something that doesn't give a lot of road noise, this is definitely what that is. Very quiet here in the interior. Overall, just the handling characteristics are spectacular. The steering wheel is good and comfortable. Of course, you've got the heated steering wheel, just like the heated and cooled, or ventilated seats, I should say. As I cruise into the corner here, yeah, not too bad. Not bad at all, actually. I'm very impressed with that. Just the overall experience here, the vehicle is very comfortable. The windows are very easy to see out of. And even the rear window, you know, if you watch or saw the roof line kind of tapers down on this vehicle, even at that, and I don't know how well you can see just because I have my seat set kind of low right now, just so that you can see out of the windshield well with the POV angle. Seeing out of that rear window is absolutely no problem whatsoever. And I've driven other vehicles that have a similar roof line, maybe a little more aggressive as far as that tapering point goes when it kind of slopes down. Not as easy to see back there, but this one is not a problem. At least that's been my experience based on where I have my seat set and all that good stuff. Very nice vehicle. Everything's very easy to get to, and I just can't say enough about how balanced this model is. Of course, being an all-wheel drive vehicle, when you step on the pedal, you can really feel the back end kind of squat down, and it definitely gets down the road, but without a lot of exhaust note to hear, because it is so quiet here in the interior, and this isn't one with high performance exhaust. You still don't quite get the same sensation you would, the visceral sensation, so to speak, as you might with a Mercedes-Benz GLE 63 or something like that, where you got the exhaust crackles and just a little bit more of a louder engine note to hear. So ultimately, what is my conclusion? My first experience with an Audi of any sort? Well, I must say I'm very impressed. The driving experience is good acceleration for being a 6-cylinder engine, very smooth, very easy to control the power, and of course a very smooth ride, and I love the responsiveness of the steering. Gotta thank my friends at Land Rover of Shreveport for loaning me this model for the day, and of course all of you for being kind enough to take the time to watch. As always, guys, tell me what you want to see me feature here on the Vehicle Visionary YouTube channel, and if I can get my hands on the vehicles that all of you would like to see, I'll definitely do that, guys. I appreciate all of you and look forward to seeing you in my next video. Have a great day.